So, what if love just wasn't just an emotion, but a vibration that we embody? A frequency that harmonizes us with everything and everyone around us? What if connection isn't something we find, but something we remember? You guys can probably hear my dog howling in the background. She's really excited about today's show, and so am I, because today we get to welcome back our favorite people from Soluna Mind and Body. Shannon and Mariza. Say hi, guys.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, super excited to be here.
For those of you out there, or for our listeners who are just joining us today, shame on you, by the way. Just kidding. Can you guys just reintroduce yourselves to our new member?
Yeah. So Marissa and I are lifelong best friends, and we started our dream together, Soluna Mind and Body, and it started off in the basement of either of our homes, and today we are expanding and growing, and it's really just a blessing, to get to do what we love with your best friend.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
You guys work so well together too, just the energy you bring to the different events you guys do. It's just like you guys are always so in sync. It blows my mind.
Oh, thank you.
We have to tell you this funny story. There's an adorable little French bakery here in town, and the guy, we're standing up there and he goes, "Hey, would you guys like a free, sample of bread?" And without missing a beat, completely in sync, we go, "Yes!" Oh, and it was completely perfect, to the point where he was like, "I wish that I would have had that on recording." And it's funny because as you get so close with someone, you become entrained to their frequency, to their brain frequency. And Marissa and I are very, very much there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it shows. It really, as Michael said, it shows. I've been to a couple of events, and we'll get into some of that later today. But yeah, it shows. I mean, you guys are just clicking every step of the way. And in fact, when you guys are just jobbing it out, and you're in there jobbing it, and you guys are always doing something, and I just see you every once in a while look at each other, and then you go off and do something else. But it's like, telepathically, you're like, yeah, go grab this, go grab that, whatever.
Yeah.
You guys
really
talk to each other.
You are really is like that.
And it's not really even been something that I think, obviously there's a learning curve when you start working with somebody new. And, we had been friends for many years before we started on this venture together. But it's just, we've done so many together at this point that we know, I think, each other's triggers. It's almost like we can anticipate what the other person needs before they even say anything. And it's really kind of a beautiful, I guess, visualization of what a good, healthy relationship is, because there's no ego here. Like, if I forget something, I know she's got it, and I'm not going to be all of these kind of
I
things.
can't believe you forgot that.
Yeah.
Or I can't believe you brought this because you thought I was going to forget it. It was just like, oh, cool. Got it.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because the night that you guys came for Union, and I know we're going to get into that, but it seemed to be a series of unfortunate events, like one right after the other leading up to the event. And it was just, we had this mantra for the night that was, oh, well, that would have been too easy.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like the mat wouldn't line up. Okay, well, that would have been too easy. We had an odd number of candles, so that would have been too easy. It was...
We didn't have enough blankets.
But what was beautiful about it is, just reflecting back on, I think, maybe our first or second major event, we had this picture in our mind of what an event should be and what it should look like. And if it wasn't perfect, then it wasn't good.
Yeah.
And as we've grown, it's been such a beautiful experience for us to know that it doesn't really matter if it's perfect, because we're not doing it for perfection.
Right.
And so,
well, it doesn't show.
From that,
it didn't show. I mean, it was like I said, it was like everything was like just firing on all cylinders. Yeah.
It was such a powerful event too. Just the connection, the love, the intimacy I got to experience with my wife going through that was just phenomenal.
And I feel like it's so important too in the setup of things, even though things weren't going exactly the way that they were planned, we knew that the purpose of this event was to bring, forward love and connection. And it was like we had this sense of calm between us that we were just like, we had a coffee pot break with all of our cacao, and we were like, well, maybe that cacao wasn't meant for this event, and it was just I think you can feel it when there's chaos and when there's harmony. And even though things felt chaotic on the outside, there's still harmony. And I think when the purpose is greater than just, I guess, performance, it comes through that way.
So, and that's why we have you guys back with us today to talk about love and connection. So, love is more than an emotion. I know it doesn't always feel that way, but it really is.
Mhm.
We believe and we teach that it is the essence of all creation. It's almost like that current that animates and life and binds every living being to each other.
Absolutely.
And even take romance out of it before it even becomes romance between people, affection or partnership. Love exists as like a living force.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I love
And
that because, like, I'm so sorry,
no, go ahead.
but
Go ahead.
love is, I think we get so stuck in love being that, idea of an emotion or something to be felt,
Hmm.
something that you feel, when in reality, just like you said, Justin, it's this underlying current that exists as a frequency throughout time, space, and anything in between. It's there. Emotions will come and go and fluctuate, but love is constant.
It is. It is. And connection is how we experience that energy,
Mhm.
that
Yes.
frequency, that vibration, and yes, it is a feeling too. It's all these things. And connection is a bridge between souls.
Yeah.
And as we get into this today, we're gonna share more about that event that we did. And I can tell you that I wasn't just feeling that between myself and Heather. I was feeling it between all of us, everybody in that room. So it
Mhm.
is that bridge between souls. And it's
Yes.
connection is the way we recognize ourselves in each other, right?
Yes.
So
Say it again.
yeah, it's the way we recognize ourselves in each other. We talk about mirroring a lot, and the more we come to understand that that is a universal law. We are mirrors for each other. The easier things get, and the more things make more sense for us. But it's also how we mirror nature, and we mirror the divine even. And connection isn't something that we think our way into. This isn't, it's a little bit here, but it's a whole being thing. It's something we feel, and it's something that we resonate out and resonate in. And it could be simple things like just a smile between two strangers, or
Mhm.
even that moment of stillness in a meditation. So um and I know I've experienced this, you guys probably have too, where you're just walking along and something little happens and you get this rush of gratitude that just seems to like just grab your chest, right?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
it just kind of carries you away for a minute. And you're like, I don't know where the time went, but I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And I love this idea, like you said, you're swept away in it. And I think sometimes when we shift, from sort of this, oh, I've got this and this and this thing to do today, and this, and you get stuck in sort of, I guess, for a lack of a better term, a lower vibration.
Hmm.
But once you start to look for those things, we call them glimmers. I'm sure that that's a term that's out there pretty often, but you see the glimmers. You see I am obsessed with moss, and so I will spot it anywhere, like a moss growing in a concrete crack or, anything like that. But you get overtaken with this sense of wonder, like, how did this little thing grow here in this, sea of concrete? And it's like that kind of altruistic, you get addicted to that. There's a
Hmm.
sense of, I want to feel more of that. And once you tap into it, there's no way that you can live without it.
Right.
Well, even if you look at the emotional guidance scale, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but it's about like the different levels of vibrations, and like right at the top is love. It is the purest expression, and it's something that when we embody it, when we learn to find love in the world, it's all about perspective, right? Kind of like what you're saying. It's so easy to have that shift. I had one earlier this week where it's like I caught myself where it's like I don't want to go to work, I don't want to do homework, I don't want to do all this stuff, and it's like let's rephrase this. This is not empowering. It's I get to do this. I get to go to work.
Yeah.
I
And
get to, yes.
it's like finding that appreciation, that gratitude for even the things that are monotonous because it's part of what makes life livable. And there's
Mhm.
so much
Yeah.
beauty everywhere if we choose to latch onto it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. True privilege really is getting to. I get to do this,
Yeah.
right? That's that perspective where lots of people don't get to do what I do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
It's not that they can't, it's that they don't get to. They don't get a chance to. So yes,
Yeah.
find gratitude and everything. 100%. And love is really misunderstood a lot of times, I think. And this might not just be a modern thing. Maybe there have been times in the past humanity where we've had this problem, but it seems like it's misunderstood a lot because and Michael and I fight this every time we do a show, these kind of shadows we're talking about, because it gets tied to possession and it gets tied to validation and it gets tied to always performing and wearing masks and just, all these different things. Because really a lot of us are taught that love means holding on or proving ourselves or earning worth, which is horrible, right? Nobody needs to earn love. It should be automatic, right? And
Well, I
those
think
things
often
aren't.
in these
Go ahead.
situations, it's desire masquerading around as love.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Love
Or
is
lust,
something that is
or
yeah,
a coveting. Yeah.
exactly. It's these things that it's these holes within ourselves, these different types of wounds that get activated and it makes us latch on to people and situations. And real love is an action. Love is a choice. Love is something that we can give freely and receive freely, but it's not something where we, like you said, where we need to possess it, where we need to domineer it.
It
Yeah.
liberates. True love liberates. It not only creates, but it liberates,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
It's a creative and passionate energy, but at the end of the day, love is this altruism. It's this idea of you are given you are simply and wholly fully complete just as you are, and thus deserve love fully and wholly. And I think sometimes, depending on if it's like a childhood experience or a later in life experience, somewhere along the line we are taught that love is conditional. And I know that that sounds a little bit like splitting hairs here, or using a turn of phrase, but love is unconditional. It exists. It exists purely for the idea of existing. Like it doesn't need you to. It's not, it even not even a seed that we have to water. It's just
Nope.
there, and we get to help it. It's just there. It doesn't need anything else.
I would say that's truth. That's that's just pure fact. Look anywhere in the universe and tell me that is not true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Absolutely.
it's everywhere.
We can look at the smallest of beings, and they say, we can't really prove. We were talking about dogs earlier, and there's been so many different things throughout, my career in animal behavior, where the argument has always been animals cannot feel complex emotion. But if we argue that love is not an emotion, and we look at this animal and we look at the way that they look at us, there's no way that we can say they don't feel love.
There was a show we did, I don't know, 2 or 3 shows ago, where Revan was sitting in my little papasan chair behind me, where Heather's sitting now, and Michael makes the comment that she has been just staring at me the whole show, but staring at me like with those Disney eyes, those big.
The love eyes.
Yes, the love eyes, yes. And like he stopped in his tracks and he's like, she's been staring at you like that the whole time. And I was like, I know, she does it all the time
Oh,
because I give her lots of kisses and she's probably spoiled a little bit, honestly, but
Yeah.
I only get like 15 good years with her and then she's gone. So,
yeah.
you know,
You
for
give them whatever you can, and no, honestly, like that's kind of in its nutshell, that's love, right? Is it's like
Yeah.
these animals, they don't wake up every day thinking, if I have a pretty enough coat, they'll
yes,
love me more.
yeah, they do it better than we do. They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, if I do this or this or this, they're not asking that. They don't question it. They
And you know what?
know
Our kids
that.
do it better than we do too, right? Our kids do it
Yeah.
until we ruin them, until the society ruins them or the world ruins them. I can distinctly remember when my kids started becoming the world, and it broke my heart a little bit because
Yeah.
I had something to do with that too. I didn't do it on purpose, of course, but
Mhm.
what can we do? So,
Yeah.
but Yeah, they do it better than we do. And for me, she's just a tiny part of my life. But for me, or for her, I'm her whole entire life.
Oh yeah.
So I have to make sure that, and we really should look at people like this too. And it doesn't have to be romantic. That's just one kind of love.
Yeah.
That's just one complicated layer of love, because that's where a lot of the conditions and expectations and stuff come in.
Mm-hmm.
Our axiom of light today, Michael, and I'll let you take this one, that anchors this show today is, and it's an easy one, of course, love will always subdue hate. What do you think about that axiom as it anchors our show today?
Well, we often talk about how in life when we go through hard times, we either get better or we get bitter.
Mhm.
Love is the thing that can carry us through the darkest moments. Love is the most powerful energy we can wield to find meaning, to find purpose, and to find belonging. And I think there's so much isolation in the world today because people are afraid of love. People are afraid of that connection, of that vulnerability. But love will always subdue hate, because it's like putting water on a fire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think of that axiom? Love will always subdue hate. Do you think it's just a poetic pipe dream that I have, or is there some truth to that?
No, I think that, when we look at hate, I was always told growing up, you would say things like, I hate homework, and my mom would always say to me, hate is a very strong word.
Mm.
And it was always something that was said in my household. And if you were going to use that word, you needed to be sure of the gravity of that situation.
That sounds a lot like...
On the alternative side of that, one thing that I will say, we all have our things growing up, but one thing I will say is that there was never a shortage in my household of growing up where I love you wasn't used a lot. And that is one thing I can say, I love you isn't. And so, well, I guess all of this to say that it is true at its very core. Love, and again, I don't necessarily think that hate is the opposite of love, but I do think that love as its own entity is so much more powerful than anger, than rage, than hate, than loathing. All of those things, love will always conquer it. And I know that sounds, again, like lip service, or like
Right.
something you find in
just a little platitude, yeah.
But it does. Love conquers all. And if we were really to get into it, for me, I know that a lot of people think that love and hate are opposite. I would say that the opposite of love would be indifference. And I think that...
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. And I think that love can conquer indifference.
Yeah.
So at its very core, it's beautiful and so simple. So simple.
Mariza, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I really love that quote. Like, growing up, same with you, Shannon, like, hate was a very strong word in my family. It's like, you got to be sure that you hate it if you're going to say you hate this. So, like, growing up, I was always like, I really, really dislike push-ups. I really disliked push-ups or sit-ups. But, like...
But they make you strong.
They make me strong, but I really disliked them. I didn't hate them, because that was a strong word.
Yes. I got really strong in the Army because I disliked drill sergeants, and I did a lot of push-ups.
Like,
I did a lot of push-ups.
them, but I strongly disliked them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like love does subdue hate, because like there's no language really to love. I know there's like different love languages, but like, like at the core of love, it can, what's it called? Like translate to different races or different cultures or different languages, and like you can feel it. So like, even though you can't translate, like, hey, I'm sorry that I accidentally bumped into you, like,
Right.
you can still give that energy of love, like,
Yeah. It's like
without
music, isn't it?
actually saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, like music. I can listen to a music from anywhere from every corner of the universe, and if it resonates, I feel it. I don't even have to know what they're saying.
But
right?
yeah, there's like, I'm on TikTok a lot, so there's a lot of TikToks that I listen to that are there's just different languages, but I'm like, oof, I'm in love. Yeah.
Yep. So I would tend to agree, and what this axiom teaches us is that first, love is not just an emotion, it is a force.
Mm-hmm.
And not an opposite force to hate, though. Where there's light, there must be shadows. And that's just a necessary fact of the universe. That where there's light, there's shadow. And in this axiom is telling us love is that light. So the shadow of that light would be hate. Hate tends to divide and disconnect, and it does destroy. And love restores connections. Even after they've been lost, they can restore connection and bring us back into alignment with that force, that light. So, and of course, we don't seek to destroy the shadow, because the shadow is a necessary part of creation too. We just try to integrate it. Right, Michael?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when we choose love, we choose unity over separation, and healing over harm, and understanding over judgment. That's what love helps us do, and that's what this axiom is teaching us. So the ethos, of course, that we're going to go with today, Michael, are really easy ones. It's the ethos of love and the ethos of connection. I just wanted to make it easy today.
My two
Um,
favorite things.
Mine too. They're the two things that have carried me the furthest in my path.
Sure.
And, thank God I had all girls, because they taught me how to be better with
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure.
And in the agreements that are going to anchor this episode today, the first one is family, of course, because in our tradition, connection is family. It's that spiritual family that transcends bloodlines, right? The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. We believe that 100%. And every time I walk into one of your things, I feel like there's a covenant there waiting for me. There's a community, and I'm not related to any of you, not by blood, but I still feel like I'm related to you as family. So this agreement teaches us that every person we meet is part of that greater human story, right? We're all connected to that web of light, that web of creation.
Yeah.
And when we choose to practice love and connection, we're honoring the family. We're honoring, beyond bloodlines, because, some people don't have bloodlines anymore. But they're not any less our family. And of course, respect. Respect is of the utmost importance when we're talking about love and connection, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I feel like they go hand in hand with each other.
Yeah, they do. They do. Because sometimes we don't want to have, sometimes our family annoys us, and we must respect that. We must respect the love we have for them,
Yeah.
And without respect, it's really hard to do anything in the world. It's really hard to connect. It really is. Because to respect them is to love and honor that divine spark that's in us, in each of us, right? It's that thing that connects us, not divides us. Even if we have nothing left between us, we have that. We still have that.
We have the root, the fun.
Well, in many cases, it's like a reverence we have for those who we truly care about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
An honoring of their individuality.
Reverence.
Yeah. And respect is the foundation of a good connection. You guys were telling us about your connection, and I can vouch for. I see it. Like I said, I see it. And you guys have great respect for each other, and trust. And trust. So a few questions for you guys.
Sure.
In your work, and I would consider the things that you do to be healing work. I don't know if you do or not, but I certainly, I've been a part of it, and that seems to be maybe not the main focus, or it is, I don't know, but it's certainly, there is healing happening in those circles, right? How do you help people experience love as an energy and not just an emotion?
Oh, I like that question a lot. And to answer the secondary question to that is like, are we healers? I wouldn't necessarily say that we are, even though I do agree with you, Justin, that it is healing work. But I think at the root of that is connection. It's really just holding the container, and creating space for people to do their own healing work. Helping people experience love as energy. Sometimes we don't necessarily even realize that's what we're doing. But it's like, you need to help people or remind people that love isn't something that they need to find or something that they need to earn, like we talked about earlier, but it's something that they need to feel. And sometimes that's through sound, and sometimes that's through breath, and sometimes that's through dance and movement. But when the body feels safe and it starts to soften, love can sort of naturally start to flow, right? It opens up the body to be able to accept that energy, not just as an emotion, but as like an overall sensation and feeling, because it's less about thinking and, oh, how do I, these are the things I love about myself. And we're, making this mental checklist, and it's more about sensing it as a vibration, as warmth, and as openness rather than a specific idea.
Well
So
said.
that leads me into my follow-up question. And I was going to ask you, how do your practices, the movement, the sound, even the stillness, help people reconnect with love as more of a living vibration versus just, I love you guys. And we do love you guys, but we can feel it when we're there, right? I can feel it now
That
between
touches
us,
us in our
Thank you.
soul.
right? So how do those practices help people reconnect with love as a vibration, which is probably what it is most true form, right?
Yeah, I would say vibration is definitely the truest form, but everything that we do, so whether it's a sound bath, whether it's yoga, whether it's dance, awakening your body through movement, these things have a different component to them. And there's a reason why they consider them to be healing modalities, because sound can recalibrate energy, movement can awaken joy, and stillness, we already know, can restore peace. And so when those things come together, love is just sort of a natural thing that starts to happen, and it starts to become a felt experience, something that we can tangibly feel either somatically or just in the bones.
Mhm.
It's that, like you were saying before, Justin, it's a living frequency, and it's a frequency that unites the mind and the body and the spirit.
Well, I think one other thing your practice really does for people is I think one of the greatest barriers for people to experience love is to cultivate self-love.
Mhm.
And so much of the work you do is getting in touch with that inner self that so many people spend their lives trying to avoid, and cultivate that self-love, and then in turn receive love. One of my favorite practices in every event you guys do is when you do the passing of the drinks, and it's I give with love and I receive with love.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Do you guys want to know a little secret? Whenever
course.
Marissa and I do any kind of drinks with each other, whether it's water or we've been really into kava lately, but whether it's water or kava or coffee or cacao
Or
or
tea.
tea, we have a little passing of the cup and a little gratitude moment. And it really, for us, it's so connective, not just with the medicine of the drink itself, but just like with us. And so
Yeah.
that's why it's so important for us to bring it into those ceremonies.
it's great. I know after doing your guys' groups, one thing Alice and I are starting to do is we got 2 glasses we fill with water, and we pour our love into one another's glasses, and then we pass it to each other. Yeah.
That's so cute. I love it.
They do all kinds of goofy stuff, and it's really cute to watch them do it too.
They are too cute. We can't stand it. From the first event we seen them at together, we were just
Yeah.
like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny too, because Heather and I are so very stoic, and it's just the way we are. And just watching them is cute. It's just cute watching those two. They are perfect for each other. They really are.
They truly are.
So that kind of bridges us to the next segment. We're going to
Mhm.
talk about love through the mind-body connection, which is something you guys do a lot because you
Yes.
incorporate so much. And I've said this before, love is not just a feeling, it is a physiological experience, right? And when we feel genuinely safe and connected and seen, the body will respond long before our mind does. We feel it before we ever think it, which tells me again that it is a true vibration in its purest form, because it, like you said, it goes to the bones and you feel it. Your shoulders will drop and your breath softens and your chest opens up and you feel confident, you feel good. I mean, really, it brings you and your nervous system and everything out of survival mode and into presence, which is really, really important. It's something we teach a lot, is presence over perfections, presence over performance, presence over everything.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think that the beautiful thing, like you were saying before, is that sound really is one of the most powerful tools that I believe that we use in the studio, because sound can really bypass the mind, through the vagus nerve, through vibration in the body, and those frequencies really help to bring like a coherence to the heart. And then of course breath work, we get that same sort of presence by anchoring us down. But what I really love too is, and I think it's very often overlooked, and I have learned so much about this through watching Mariza and her beautiful, beautiful women that are on her belly dance troupe. Um, I have to say that it's probably one of the most real life transformative experiences that I've seen, and it's been through movement and it's been through an acceptance. So I'm going to pass it over to her because we have such beautiful stories from the belly dance troupe, but for me, that is the most surprising and the most impactful transformation that I've seen in terms of nervous system regulation and just all around feeling like an incredible new woman sometimes when they come out of there. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, with belly dance, a lot of my belly dancers were actually, they came to belly dance either because they were curious about what it is, or sometimes their physical therapists or even their regular therapists, they would suggest like, hey, you should try out belly dance. It will help with your core, or it will help
Mm,
with your self-confidence. Because a lot of my dancers would have like body image issues.
mm,
And like, they would come in, they're like, oh, I hate my body. I could never dance the way you do. And here they are like 2 years later. And they have,
You better watch
you
out.
better watch out
right. They're
because
like
they
the
have
stars
like
of the show now. Yeah.
5 choreographies memorized. 2 of them they made up their own, and like they come in, they take off their shirts, they're in their sports bras and their hip scarves, and they're just like, all right, let's dance. Just like seeing that transformation of like someone who would come into my class and they would wear like layers upon layers upon layers of clothes, like, you know, tank top, t-shirt, hoodie, hip scarf, and like they wouldn't even take off their socks. And now they're coming in, just bare minimum to dance and just enjoy themselves. And like I've had some dancers who have been, you know, who did not have enough love for themselves that they couldn't even look at themselves in the mirror. And
Mm.
now they're like, I want to look at myself in the mirror while I practice these moves. And they're, yeah, it's just so nice to see like how comfortable they are, and like how much movement or just having someone guide you to see how you move, or to someone guide you to move in a way that works for you, how much that can help them, like really understand their body and like have gratitude, and then later on love their bodies and love themselves.
And
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Michael, this is where and why these ladies' work is so deeply powerful, right?
Thank you.
I mean, because your guys' approach reminds us that love isn't simply something that we just talk about like we are today, and I'm sure people out there who are listening today are going to feel what I'm talking about here, just by us sharing this space together and sharing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But your work is so powerful because it's something that people can feel through the whole system, mind,
Mm-hmm.
body, spirit, right? Wouldn't you say, Michael? You say it's pretty accurate?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like as you described that, it's like I think about how they would cultivate the confidence as they started doing it more and more. That self love that I was talking about earlier, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important loves to have. Like you guys create that space for them to cultivate that, and I mean, again, 2 years later, and they got that confidence. They're not afraid
Right.
to do their
You
thing.
would not believe it. It is the best. And oh my gosh. And I really respect this and what the work that Mariza is doing with the belly dance girls, because I mean, I've done it with her, but it's not I like to watch, I like to enjoy, but I don't always have the time to devote to it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is that you don't really think about the barriers that a deep self-image or a deep loathing self-image has upon your life. And
Mm-hmm.
I have learned this from talking with these women that come to her classes. The impact that low self-esteem has on their lives. It makes someone feel, I don't deserve to enjoy this. I don't deserve to have fun because I'm not the right body type to have fun. Or I
Right.
don't deserve to go out,
nice things.
wear nice things because I don't have the right body type. And a self-love, just as Michael was saying, we talked earlier about containers, if there is not self-love, there is no well for love for
It
other
runs
things.
dry. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And it's been the most magical thing that I've seen within our
Look,
space.
from an outsider's perspective, I've seen all the videos on your guys' socials and stuff, and they are out there killing it.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
You don't see anything but they're just beaming with confidence, and they look like pros.
Yeah, they do.
They just, they're killing it. So, our congrats to them. Hopefully they're listening, but if not, make sure you let them know.
Yeah,
We'll
make sure.
I know we've had about 6 or 7.
7, I think
7 performances all around town. We did one in Denver. And and they're always down. They're like, find us more shows to dance at. I'm like, girls, just
they're like,
I love that.
on it.
Yeah, and look, this is why I called you guys healers before, because the things that you're describing are those shadows. It's something that Michael and I, again, we based the whole point of this podcast was to take on those shadows and heal them, not destroy them, but heal them and integrate them. And you guys are doing that, so you don't call yourselves healers, but I call you powerful healers, and keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it's just pretty obvious to me, because you guys are maybe not, and I'll give you this. You're not the healers. You're helping them face their shadows, though.
Yeah,
and that's
like you
powerful.
said, it's a facilitation,
That's powerful.
A guide, we talked about this before, everybody needs that guide in their corner.
Yeah.
They need someone that's ready and willing. I mean, that, Michael, from just, with your partner in mentorship with Justin, like it's so important to have somebody that has that. And I think also on that note, you guys talked about, Justin, you talked about community, One of the things that I would say too, that's been really beautiful to witness, these women, like Mariza said, they've got layers of clothing on, they're hiding in their own skin. They walk through the space to get to the belly dance thing. And it's like, I don't want to take up too much space. I don't want anybody to notice me. I don't want these things. And that's how the life has been being lived, in that very similar same situation. But now we have a situation where the door is thrust open and it's like, arrived, who's ready to dance, but beyond that, they're welcomed into that space. And it's so funny because I've been having a sparring session, because I typically do my sparring sessions at the same time that there is a belly dance session.
Gotcha.
And so one of my most favorite things in the entire world is I'll be out there, I'm sweating, I'm gross, I got my mouth guard in, it's just, and I watch one of those girls walk back there and literally all I hear, oh my God, so beautiful. It's just, there's such a beautiful community. And the fighters, they notice it, they see it, and it's love. There's no other term for it. It's love.
And also there is that love between, like, I think it's so cute, the love between like the fighters and the belly dancers, because there's that sparring session during belly dance class. And like, I need to get my girls more like comfortable dancing in front of people. So I would force the fighters to watch our performance, like a little recital, like, hey, when you guys have 5 minutes, can you come into the studio and watch us dance and tell us if you like it or not? And like, they're never like, no, we're sparring. This is our time to practice. Like, they're always like, yeah, of course. And like, they always enjoy it. And like, I remember one of the fighters was just like, I can't believe you girls move like that.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah. And then like, he just like couldn't stop talking about it for the rest of his like sparring session. I'm like, that's really sweet.
It's incredible. It really is. It's incredible. And it requires a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication.
Because people see someone loving themselves so fiercely.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wow, maybe this person doesn't have, the ideal whatever the world is telling us the body type needs to be. Or maybe this person doesn't have the, gender or the race that this body is what we want to be in this type of dance or this type of thing, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful waterfall effect, and I really love that.
It is. Love is contagious. I promise you.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, it is. So I was going to ask you, is there a connection between emotional healing and physical balance and things? But I think
I think
we covered that because, part of that was going to be, can you share how love and safety actually show up? And it's shining bright from these ladies, and they're out there killing it. What happens? Maybe you can pinpoint this. I don't know. I don't even know how to ask this question, but doing this work for all this time, is there a point where you see somebody when they finally, like, that light goes off and someone feels seen, or they feel respected, or they feel like their dignity is returned and they feel safe in showing that love to other people? Is just any time you can think of where it like just kind of stands out in your mind where, wow, the light switch has been turned on here?
Yeah. I think that those are some of the most beautiful and intimate moments where there's a realization. Sometimes it's a hard realization. Sometimes it's, a trickle or a sensation of something that they feel. But then other times it's a full awakening, a realization, a coming to. And for me, I always think of these things as like two tuning forks that are like resonating together. So when one person decides to have this moment of resonance, the thing that happens directly after is the support comes from the community. And then the vulnerability is welcomed with open arms. So vulnerability, a barrier to love, is so very often a fear of being vulnerable, of being in a situation where you have no control over it. And when there's an awakening like that, a spark, if you will, a strike on the tuning fork, what happens is their frequency of vulnerability, their frequency of love, their frequency of acceptance impacts all of the other frequencies in the room. And it creates a safe space for others to be vulnerable. So yes, there are so many moments like that. But the most beautiful part about that is knowing that for me personally, it feels very rewarding knowing that there's been a space that has been created that person can feel vulnerable. But two, the community never misses in the ability to reciprocate.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I've traveled in these woo-woo circles for a really long time now. And, what we call woo-woo, like, all the stuff that's normal to us, right? A lot of people would say, oh, that's woo-woo, right?
Yeah.
So, but when you walk into a place where everybody's a stranger except for, one or two people, there is no uncomfortability at all. In fact, outside of me, Heather's usually pretty shy and pretty reserved, and after our first event there, when we did the first full moon ceremony, and she was engaged, and she was, and it just kind of, I was like, wow, I get to see her open up around other people, especially because she's been dealing with the woo woo stuff with me for so long. But but she felt so comfortable in that space, and all of you were complete strangers to her except for Michael. So, again, that's just a testament to what you just said was, if you were trying to build that kind of community, you guys, I mean, nailed it. I mean,
thank you.
Effortless, right, Michael? I mean, it's just it's something that we were talking about after the first, and then we had dinner after the union event. And, as we were talking about a lot, we're like, man, they just, every time you walk in there and you feel like you're at Thanksgiving dinner with every cousin and every aunt and every grandpa and whatever.
What do you even see it when people come in?
Yeah. That's always the vibe that we have wanted. I think very early in to put it into Justin's word, the woo woo, you get a word that's thrown around a lot in our circle, and that's the word authentic.
Yeah.
And
In this circle too, we say it a lot.
Oftentimes, yeah, you know, and I love authenticity, but I believe that there is a very, very wobbly board that we must walk between performative and authenticity.
Yeah.
And I believe very early, you know, even I'm talking like in the very beginning stages of Soluna when we were still down in the basement. I mean, we had a script up, you know,
Yeah.
and we were like, and here's what you need to, you know, and it wasn't us.
Right.
And we said, you know, we can have the flowery words and we can have the
Mhm.
really ceremonial feel, or we can have it feel like you've come over to our house and we're here together.
Right.
And we will always choose the latter.
Yeah.
And I think that that's such a big component of love too, right? Because as you
Mhm.
said, Justin, I don't mind that my community sees my shadows. In fact, I want them to see it. You know, if
Right.
I mess up or if I, you know, stutter on something or I say something wrong. I think I said something real out of pocket during union and I didn't mean to. And I was like, no. But, you know, those things happen and it's real and it's authentic, and love at its very core doesn't care if you're perfect. And where would we be if we would present ourselves in a way? I always tell people, if you meet me at Soluna, I want to be the same exact person that you meet at King Supers. Like,
Yes.
you want that love to shine through. And I think so often performance versus authenticity, they both go hand in hand with love. Whereas I think performance is in an effort to earn love. And authenticity is knowing that you deserve it no matter what. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think you're stealing from my script there.
Oh, sorry.
No. It's that resonance again, and it's true. You know, I don't say anything that's not true, and that's all truth. People out there right now are looking at what a King Supers is. It's a grocery store. If you guys don't know, if you're not from here,
It's a Kroger. It's a
so they might know Kroger. Kroger's pretty big.
It's like
Yeah,
Aldi.
they're all like, "What's a King Supers? That sounds like an awesome place." No, you're right.
Yeah. And like
But
I love what Shannon said about like our space, how we want to keep it authentic to ourselves. And
Mhm.
like it is such a weird word, or like a word that does get thrown out a lot. But like that space truly is us. It's like it was the love child of our ideas, that space. And we just like threw it all together and we're like, okay, it
Mhm.
works. But like with that, like as you
It
guys
works
said, like
because you are you. That's why it
yeah,
works.
like you guys
Nobody
can
can do what you
feel
guys do. Nobody. Not the way you do
thank
it. I
you.
mean, and I'm just being honest there.
Yeah, and like the people who do come in, a lot of our people who do come in for either belly dance or our sound baths or even our full moon or new moon circles, they always say like it feels like we're coming home. And I love that because it sounds like, like it feels like they're coming home, like they know that this is a place of love, a place of
It,
safety, a place of rest.
right. It really is. But
No.
so let's talk about the shadow side of love and connection, because where there's light, there must be shadow, right? This is just a fact of the universe. Every light casts a shadow, and nowhere is that more true than, unfortunately, in the realm of love and connection.
Sure.
Every one of us carries around wounds, and these wounds are around connection or fear of rejection or fear of abandonment, because many people out there were literally rejected and literally abandoned, or people are afraid to lose themselves, or
Yeah.
fear of not being enough. These are all shadows, right? These
Mm-hmm.
and again, as I say all the time, this is not, these shadows don't make us broken. They make us human, and it's perfectly acceptable to be human, because what you said, it's not perfect, but you're present, right? You guys show up. You guys show up, and you show up authentically. That is perfection, as about as perfect as a human can be.
Mm-hmm.
And we're beautifully imperfect, right?
Yeah.
So, Michael, let's talk about a couple of these shadows that our listeners are used to us talking about. And we talk about them a lot because you guys need to hear it a lot. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Let's start off by talking about control, the shadow of control when we're talking about love and connection.
Well, I think this stems back to how sort of love, we confuse attachment with love, right? And control is one of the most vicious ones because you see this play out where the insecurities are on the rise and people want to control their partner, control their friends, control their image even.
Yeah.
And it leads to so much inauthenticity. Yeah, that is right. It sounded weird coming out.
It's a tough word, but we get it. Yeah, trust me. I'm glad you tried to say it, not me.
Because when we try to control perspective, when we try to control other people, some of the worst parts of us come to the surface and gain control over our very being. I mean, it's one of the main shadows I think that we see in a lot of unhealthy relationships. And it doesn't mean that they're narcissistic or that they're broken, but it's this unconscious belief that this person will leave me. This person is going to pass me up. It's insidious.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys think about the shadow of avoidance when we talk about love and connection?
Yeah. So I love when we talk about avoidance, I think we would be remiss that if we didn't also talk about protection and boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so the difference in I guess the frequency or the energy is that protection says I'm honoring myself and avoidance says I'm afraid to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's love in the boundary, it's protection. But
Yes.
when there's fear or resistance, it's avoidance. And the body always knows the difference.
The body always knows. It always. Michael loves saying that, and it's so true. The body always knows, right? What about being an overgiver, Michael? This is your.
Well, I think for a lot of people, they don't feel worth love. And so they're constantly trying to prove their worth through acts of service, gift giving, constantly shrinking themselves down so they can fit into someone else's life. And that can be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. My lovely wife, we go through this exercise every so often where, I say, you got 2 days off. I would really, really like it if you rested one day. You don't have to do everything for everybody, me included. I'm a grown ass man. I can do things too. She says no, so yeah, she's much better these days. She's finally learned how to rest and take care of herself. She really disliked, I almost said hated, but she really disliked our show on self-care because it was really, really, really kind of poking at people who don't do a lot of that for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel you there, Heather. That's one of the reasons why we made our 30-day challenge on self-care because we are also in that.
Well, and especially, you guys are running a very busy practice and you have your lives that are very busy and, it's really important for all of us to rest. And that isn't always a day at the spa, even though the four of us, Allison, Michael, myself, and Heather, we snuck off to Cottonwood Springs this weekend and had a beautiful time. Oh, it was so fun. It was so fun. Although there was a weird part that I was telling somebody today, Michael and Heather, you guys were there. There was this family that we kept running into everywhere we went. And it was so weird. And the guy started, by the end of 2 days, the guy's looking at us like we're stalkers or something. But everywhere we went, they were there. Like literally every breakfast, every meal we had, they were at the restaurants before us. And of course, they were staying at the hotel with us. We realized on the last day, because then we seen them in the pools with us. But yeah.
I love a
that was one of those
synchronicity.
instances
They'll pop up later.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said I love a synchronicity. I bet you they'll pop up later sometime. You might not know when, but.
Which is funny because Michael and I just recorded a show on synchronicity 2 days ago. That'll be hitting tomorrow. See, more synchronicity. So
That's amazing.
See, I took my time off this weekend. I don't need to stop. I don't need to rest this week. I already did my time.
Well, you got to do a little more. Sometimes it means not taking a shower and just chilling and right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do grand things.
Yeah, I think so often, I think with the overgiving, like you said, that shadow of overgiving. And I know that, everyone feels this, but I think specifically this one is a very hard one for women, but also for those that are in charge of their families. So they're the matriarchs of the family, or they are this, because so often throughout time in memoriam, women's worth has been directly tied into what they can do for you.
Well, in giving, yeah.
And what
Our
can I give?
grandmothers did it, our mothers did it, our great grandmothers did it.
Yep.
And it's a very hard lesson to learn, to know that you have a divine right to rest, but also that your worth is not determined by what you can do for someone.
That's right.
It's not determined by how quickly you finish a deadline. It's not determined by how you produce or get things done or check off of your list. You are worth it even when none of those things are attached to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Love is not a condition you audition for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are deserving of it no matter what. No matter what. And it's important for all of us, for those people who do, because all these things are tied more toward nurturing than they are providing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I would argue that, yes, a provider must feed, but we can go 3 weeks without eating. We can go 3 days without water. We can go 3 minutes without breath, but just go ahead and live a life without having any nurturing,
Mhm.
and you're screwed for life. It'll screw you up really bad. And that's something we talk about a lot, but it's important for the rest of us who aren't overgivers, who do have strong boundaries, to make sure that we do not take those people for granted.
Crappy childhoods.
The crappy childhoods, man.
Those that aren't shown that what's the word I'm looking for? That aren't shown that kind of love, is constantly, well, you got to prove that you need this. So
Yeah.
that's
You
the
gotta
thing.
earn it. Yeah.
Some of us, some people, me specifically, I'll use me as an example. That was never shown to me. So for me, over time, that's like my way of showing love, because I over reciprocate.
Yes.
So that's a hard thing to get out of. Like, if I'm not doing it, then I don't think that I'm doing enough. I'm not doing anything at all, and I feel bad for it.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of times we do these things because we're looking for that reciprocation.
Yeah,
and when it
reciprocity.
doesn't happen, because for us, love is a condition that we have to prove we're worthy of, it becomes a really vicious cycle, and it's those wounds cut deep.
And the hard thing about anything, when we look at reciprocal relationships, when we look at reciprocity, it's like you really have to ask yourself in so many different scenarios, what am I giving and why? Am I giving with the expectation of reciprocity, or am I giving just to give? And then that is also a whole other conversation you have to have with yourself, because if it's out of a place of love, do you expect reciprocity?
Right.
Is that a condition of you giving it to receive it? And so you really have to look at those things.
It's so much synchronicity today, because we literally just did a show on true service on Tuesday, where we talked about, giving because you can, but nobody can pour from an empty cup. You must take care of yourself. And for those of you concerned that there might be a ghost behind me, that's actually Heather. You just can't see her. Yeah, see? There's the hands. Someone out there is calling Ghostbusters going, Justin, there's someone behind you.
I'm hiding it.
So let's talk about the event that we most all recently did together, Union. What a great event that was. Michael, can you remind us of what that was like, and all the cool stuff that we did?
Oh, it was an event all about connection, especially it was with friends or with your partner. And there were so many different exercises, from breath work to just holding one another, that were so... I love how union was the theme, because that's what it felt like. It was just this brief period where me and my wife got to embrace each other and be still. And we felt like we were one. It was absolutely magical.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed it. And I'm so glad that you came, because there's a vulnerability component whenever you put something out that is a couples only event or a love event, that a lot of people are just, they have resistance to. They don't know what to expect. They don't, know what they're going to be asked to do or anything like that. And so there is always resistance in something like that.
Well, yeah. And, a lot of people, I think, and you can correct me if I'm not right here, but this really felt like a living embodiment of that tantric connection, love as energy and awareness, always so important. Awareness, being aware of just being present right now together, but not just together. We were all kind of doing this, and it wasn't open, it wasn't like you had to be romantically involved. It wasn't like it could be friends. You could be whatever. And we were talking about reciprocity. There was that sacred reciprocity present right there, right? And there was no performance, there was no possession. It was just being present and experiencing everything in those moments.
Yeah. And, I love it because Tantra itself, that's another one. Like you just hear that word and people are like, oh, hands off.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing it. And if you remember when we were speaking about Kundalini, we talked about the word yoga meaning to yoke.
Mm-hmm.
And Tantra itself literally means to weave. Right. So it's a web, it's an interconnection. It's the art of weaving breath and movement and intuition and energy all together so you feel more alive and more connected to the people around you. But one of the most beautiful things about Tantra, and for those of you who don't know, and I know we talked about this before, Kundalini is in the tantric line. So the type of yoga that we do is part of this.
Mm-hmm.
But at its very core, so many people have that misconception of it being a very sexual or sensual type of thing, when at its very core, that's just one teeny tiny little leaf on the grand tree that is Tantra, where at its core, it's presence. And so I'm really happy that both of you have brought that up tonight, because having a moment with a partner or a friend, we talk a lot about being present in our own bodies. We talk a lot about using breath to anchor us into presence. But not very many of us sit down and say, look at me in my eyes and be present with me right now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that skill with our partner, with our friend, with our coworker. A touch, a breath, a moment of shared connection that says, I'm here with you. I'm not above you. I'm not in front of you. I'm here with you together.
Yeah. And it's amazing because it goes so much deeper. The well of love is deep beyond imagination. And this practice it just goes beyond romantic, sexual, sensual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, if people practice this more often, they would realize that love is much more than that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think when people hear about these tantric forms of connection, this type of yoga, they always just go, like you said, right to that one spot, that tiny little twig on this giant tree of practice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love that I think you said it earlier, sacred reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is. It's about that sacred reciprocity and remembering that love is something we became together. It's something we are together. It's something we carry and float upon and live and exist and move with.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing because I'll tell you this, Tantra in its truest form is about being present in its presence, and it's the merging of energy and breath and awareness, as you said. But if we pay attention, it will also teach us that love is not something we give or receive. It's something that we are becoming conscious of together, no matter what we're doing, right? There's no prerequisites. You just sit together and become conscious of that connection, of that love.
Yeah. And sometimes, like Marissa and I will just do that via a phone call sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You'll catch us on a phone. Neither one of us are saying anything. And
Right.
it's been dead air for, 10 minutes, but we're just in it together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe she's working on her computer and I'm working on my computer, but we know that the other person is there and that connection exists.
Yeah. So every element of that event, I believe, really, really resonates with what we're all saying here about it. The cacao really helps open our hearts. And it was reminding us that love starts here and it goes out, right? This is the first time I ever had cacao, by the way.
Well, we got to get you some more.
Oh, wow.
That was
And I was so happy.
And
So just a funny little,
so thankful to
just
you
a
guys.
funny little, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we are so thankful that you guys were so understanding, and I think you might be telling the same story that I was thinking about
I'm
telling.
thinking, yeah, I'm thinking so. So
You
there's
go
so
ahead.
this little
You
funny
go
thing
ahead. We'll tell it from the back end.
where Marissa was pouring for everybody, and um, I think it's because you're using an unfamiliar vessel, right? That you were pouring from,
Yeah.
and it was just, and it was kind of dark, and it was hard to see, and so they got around to Michael and Allison. Was it Michael or Allison, or was the other folks? I think it was Michael and
No,
Allison.
it was Michael and Allison.
Yeah. So she's trying to pour, and then she's like, "Oh no!" And she looks around, and Heather's glass and my glass was a little probably more full than it should have been, and she looked over at me, and I was like, "Yeah, we can share.
Yeah.
We can share."
There was that frequency of love.
I didn't even have to
right
ask,
there.
like, use any words. We just like locked eyes, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
That's the frequency of compassion and connection. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
and
the
of course the
back end of
partner
that
mirroring.
was our pot that we were using to warm so Marissa had made the cacao at home because it's quite a time intensive process to make the cacao, and so she had spent quite a bit of time making it, and so I was like, oh, do you want me to put it in, we have this big glass kettle to just keep it warm,
Right.
and she was like, yeah, sure. And so as she's setting up the bowls, I think I was working on mats.
Yeah.
She was setting up the bowls, and all of a sudden she goes, oh no. And we look over at the table, and there's just cacao dripping all down the table.
Oh.
And we were like, what happened? The kettle had cracked.
Yeah.
And so thankfully we had some extra, but it was a tight, it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like we lost like 3/4 of the cacao that I made that night. And we're just like, I'm like, we're really gonna have to ration this, guys. I'm like, we're really gonna have to ration this. How are we gonna
You
do
made
this?
it work though.
It turned out to be plenty. Yeah, there was
worked.
plenty for everyone.
Yeah. It's like less than half a cup
But
per
that's
person. But
That's okay. It was enough.
Yeah,
It was enough for
enough.
the heart.
It was the perfect amount, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought so anyway. So, and of course, the partner mirroring became again like that really sacred act of witnessing each other and not judging, just witnessing. And it wasn't about validation. It was about just seeing the other person and helping them feel seen.
Yeah.
And then the Kundalini meditation, of course,
Mm-hmm.
was really good. If you guys have never done Kundalini meditation, you should really try it. It will open your eyes. I know it has for me. And then of course the sound healing, and this is interesting. That I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, man, 45 minutes of sound sounds like a long time. But I swear to you, when we laid down and we started the sound bath, it was like 10 minutes. I felt like it was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it just takes you in so deep.
Yeah.
That, if you're thinking like 45 minutes, imagine listening to one song for 45 minutes long, right? It would feel like, man, that's going to be excruciating. But with the sound bath, it's like you feel like you're there for 10 minutes and then you're like, oh, it's time to get up? Time to turn the lights on now?
It's so magical because sound can really, we had a good friend come to a couple of our sound baths, and he is a hypnotherapist. And he was saying that sound is one of, especially when we work with things like binaural beats, especially in that sound bath specifically, the way that we had set the room up, because there was a set in the front and a set in the back. Many of you probably experienced the binaural beats from those two sets of sound baths.
Yeah.
And so it creates a really intense floating back and forth sensation where your brain is really trying to catch up with where the sounds are. And he had shared with us that was one of the most powerful ways for someone to enter a hypnosis. And I haven't done a lot of research on it, but what I do know is that within the first, 5 to 15 minutes of the sound bath, that's where our brain is just starting to like, okay, I'm uncomfortable. There's a bunch of people in the room. Maybe the ground is cold. Maybe I don't have my feet covered by the blanket, and we just kind of go through this like checklist of things or what we expect should happen in a sound bath. And then after about the first 15 minutes, we start to drift and we start to go, okay, our brains are now switching from those really like drive and achieve brainwaves into the rest and digest brainwaves. And then the further with after that, 15-minute, 20-minute time frame, every minute after that takes you further and further towards those theta brainwaves, where the real deep, subconscious healing is going to happen.
Yeah. And for those of you who never had done a sound bath, make yourself get through the first 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It'll be hard. It'll be weird. It'll like feel uncomfortable. It might even seem loud because it's a different kind of sound you're used to hearing. But believe me, if you get yourself through the first 10 or 15 minutes, it's kind of like meditation, right? It's really hard to meditate for the first 1 million times. But that 1 million and one time, you like go 6 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever. The uncomfortableness you feel will fade. And you will have an amazing experience, especially the way you guys, did it with binaurally. I know I've been using binaural beats for 1 million years now. I'm not quite that old, but maybe. But somebody called me old at the beginning of the show. I won't tell you guys who, but
Did it?
Wonder who.
But there is kind of a learning curve there. You have to kind of get used to hearing things kind of at different frequencies, but if you just sit with it a few minutes, it'll be amazing. I promise.
And wherever you're at, there's sound baths everywhere. So I promise you, just get online, you look for it, you will find a sound bath.
Yeah.
And if you're in the Springs, you just need to not look for it online. Just go to see Shannon and Mariza.
Every Monday night, guys.
Yeah, every Monday night. And we also do private sound baths too.
Yeah, I noticed you guys, what was it I was looking up? I was on your guys' website, and there was something that you did that I didn't realize.
With sauna?
The sauna?
The sauna. Yeah, I was like,
Yes,
that's what that little room is in the studio.
Yeah, it's a sauna, yeah. So we can typically do 2 heat, like both Marissa and I in there with one other person, and those are probably some of the most intense experiences that our folks have had. Those can be really intense because the heat and the sound and it's an intense experience.
Yeah, that's something we need to make Michael try once, and then he can report back.
Yeah, report back.
I'll be down. You guys gonna bring the ice baths back?
Eventually, yes. We've got big news coming within the next few months, so just stay tuned for that.
And they always keep promising us we're going to do an event that's a sleepover one day, so we're going to hold you guys to that. We're going to bring our jammies.
A Soluna sleepover.
We're gonna bring our jammies.
Just be patient, guys.
So we kind of shared our experiences. What I'm really curious to know is, what did you guys witness in that room when we were all doing all of these different exercises and all these steps? What did you guys witness?
I gotta say, as soon as everybody left, we've done many, many events. Some events have 4 people, some events have 40 people.
24.
40 people. We've done events where you're floating in a swimming pool. We've done events, where it's a rage ritual or, something that is just as profound. But I gotta say, as soon as we shut that door and said goodbye to the last person, we both immediately looked at each other and it was just like a release. Like it was our favorite event to date. As somebody who is sensitive to energetic frequencies and things like that, it was profound. It was profound, the connection that I was feeling from her, when we were doing the mirroring and things, but the connection that I was feeling from all of you and just being able to witness the acceptance. Because you had mentioned it earlier, Justin, there are definite, physiological signs to someone settling in. You can see it in the way that their eyes soften and their shoulders drop. You can see it in their posture and how they breathe. And there were people in there, like we said, there were you guys, and then there was people who were just friends. And then there was a person that you would never in a million years have expected to have gone to an event like that.
I think he even called it woo woo, I think, if I remember right.
And it was participation, he was fully present for his partner. Yeah. It wasn't, oh, haha, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stand here with my arms folded. There was full participation. And even though there were definite moments where there was things that might have felt uncomfortable or strange for people. It was such a deep connection. And one of the things that Marissa and I have often discussed is I tend to be more of a feeler and she tends to be more of a seer. And what I mean by that is I will feel the movement and the change and someone's energy. And, you know, my therapist would tell you that that's a trauma response, but it's fine. It is not necessarily the case because I feel like over the years, I have really, really, really tapped into that. And knowing when to let up and knowing when to change a breath work and knowing when to do these things. But one of the most beautiful things about Marissa and I is we come together after every event and we do a decompression and a discussion and what did we feel, see, hear, experience. And this one was really special because I felt different waves of energy off of each couple that was there. And I had an idea of what the color was that I was seeing for each couple. And Marissa knew because she had seen the color. And we didn't discuss it. We didn't, you know, but it was a color. And together at the very end of the final meditation, there was this, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to explain it. It felt like if you've ever had something, maybe laying on your stomach, you know, if you've been laying on your stomach or you're getting a massage or something and somebody's kind of got some pressure on you, it's not really uncomfortable, but it's enough where you recognize it.
Right.
At the very end of that, and we had kind of a collective breath together, it was like, for me, like a pulsing of energy that just went, it was like, I wouldn't even say a relief. It wasn't a relief. It was like a relaxing of pressure. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of letting go, right, Michael?
Yeah.
There was definitely a lot of that.
A lot of surrender.
Yes,
Yeah.
surrender is a big one, you know, and again, not to sound like that broken record player, but Justin, you said it earlier, is just presence. Presence is love, you know. We talked about the opposite of love being indifference. Well, what is that? It's presence.
Right.
It's attentiveness. And there was so much beauty in that room, from every single breath to the way that you each were, to Michael's point, showing reverence for one another, not just for each other, but a respect and reverence for the other couples that were in the room. And it was truly magical to see.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have anything new going on that you want to kind of let us in on?
Do it.
You guys
Keep it safe.
We're
picked up a new partner.
safe, but we do have to say there is very, very, very big things happening in the next year. You guys may
picked
have
up a new
noticed we
partner,
just
I
did a
see.
recent post where Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
you guys have met Jacqueline before. She's our gong priestess and she is amazing. And so she will be joining Soluna full time, which is really, really exciting. So we'll have to have her
Nice.
on here so she can introduce herself. But she's kind of our you know, our trinity. It really completes things. There's a story about the sun and the moon. So for those of you who don't know, Soluna stands for sun and moon, and Marissa's the sun and I'm the moon. And there's a Mayan story that talks about how the sun and the moon yearn to be together, but the jaguar was the only thing that could cross between worlds. And Jacqueline's name is Jaguar Lotus. So we're very excited to bring her into our sun and moon.
That's
to
perfect.
see what comes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
but
she
we're
was
really
at
excited for that.
she was at the first event that I went to, and she's really good at what she does.
Yes.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, we're really excited to have her. And, you know, we've got another event coming up, which is called Reflect. So you'll notice a trend starting to shape from our events going forward, where there will have, you know, you guys went to Union, we have Reflect, you know, they're going to be a very, very clear distinction on what we want to accomplish with each of these. And this one is a new moon in Scorpio event. So there will be a lot of deep reflection happening. And we just say it's just really beautiful because the gong is such a good representation of a reflection. But also we're going to be doing a water ceremony and we did a mirror ceremony for Union, but this one will be a personal mirrored ceremony. So it will be just you, yourself, and a mirror.
When is that event? What day?
That is the
November.
21st.
Yeah.
And we still have, I think, 4 spots left.
Okay. Might be worth looking into right there.
We also have the solstice coming up in December, and if you have been around Soluna in December, you know that Yule and the solstice are very important to us. So we will have some things for that as well.
Yeah.
Michael, do you have any closing thoughts about today's show? You've been kind of quiet today. I hope I wasn't stepping on you a lot, but
Oh no, not at all. I was enjoying listening to the conversation and jumping in when I had input. But I think love is one of the things that really is one of the most powerful resources on the planet. And I think love has been something that people have become more and more afraid of, especially unconditional love. The more we can start to embrace what love truly is, and again, like we talked about earlier, it's not something you chase. It's something that is there, that is present, that is whole. And the more we can learn to see what is really love versus attachment, the more we can start embracing relationships that help us grow and expand. And that's just one thing I got to throw in there with this topic.
I love that.
beautiful. Do you guys have any closing thoughts you want to leave the audience with about our show today?
Gosh, you guys really have just, it's just we love you guys.
Yeah.
We love talking with you. I feel like I could talk all day. I just looked at the time and I was like, how in the world
I
did
know.
we spend this much time talking about love? It's my favorite thing. I guess I'll hand it over. Do you want to go first, or you want me to take this and then pass it back to you?
Yeah, I guess you could take this. Like,
I'll carry the football of love. Gosh, I think that just remembering that love is the underlying, rhythm of all life. Emotions are going to come and go, but the vibration of love is constant. And when we attune to it, everything aligns. When your purpose is attuned to love, everything aligns. And what's meant to be will be, and what's meant to come into your life will be. And then I guess the invitation would be to remember that you, me, we are the medicine, and we get to choose every single day compassion over judgment and softness over fear. And, I think, like you said, you guys have said it before, we're restoring the balance, we're restoring the balance in this world, and love invites us all to live as the embodiment of healing itself.
mm-hmm.
Well said.
Yeah.
Marissa, did you want to add anything to that?
That was really good.
She's like, I have to follow that? Come on.
Okay, maybe
You
I
guys
should
are
have
killing
gone
me.
first.
Don't worry. Michael does that to me all the time. I'm like, I got to follow that. Oh,
Ooh. Yeah. I think just I guess piggybacking off of what Shannon said, love is the medicine, and I feel like also part of love is acceptance, accepting any person as they are. And one of our very first slogans, I guess we should say, for Soluna, 2.5 years ago, was all vibes welcome. Because I've been to multiple yoga studios in the past, and they're like, well, leave your worries, leave your anger at the door. You're here for you. Which I understand. This practice is for you, but you can't just leave your anger or your grief or your sadness, where you left your shoes and your coat in the hallway.
right.
It's
Yeah.
it's still gonna be with you. And I feel like that's what true love is. It's you accept their grief, you accept the person's grief or their anger or their irritability, and just you accept their everything.
Yes.
And I think that's part of the medicine to, help people heal through their spiritual journey or their healing journey.
That was
But at
so
the same
good.
time, it's okay to be annoyed with them, and it's okay to
Oh yeah.
experience your emotions.
Oh yeah.
We don't get annoyed with each other very often, but the
No.
portal yesterday had us
Oh,
both on
gosh.
edge with the, oh my gosh. And I don't know what happened. We're gathering food for a food drive. And there was a miscommunication about tubs. And she brought in the tubs, but I
brought 3 tubs in.
and I was like, oh, but we could also just use a table. And she's like, so you don't want the tubs? And then, it's so funny, because even if you do have that, you realize that nothing is done with the intention of harm, and once you live in that frequency of love, everything you crave to have harmony.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to perpetuate, something like, oh, you snapped at me, I snapped at you, okay, this happened. No, it's knowing that nobody's out to get you, and we're not,
Yeah.
we don't have to be. We can be
Yeah.
annoyed, but it doesn't necessarily
It's
mean that we need to perpetuate that.
Right. Love exists even in the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It does. So as we come to the end of this conversation, I want to bring everybody back to this very simple but powerful truth. Love and connection are living forces. They are the energy of creation. It is found in every part of creation. Whether you're a scientist, you'll find it at the very molecular level. If you're a spiritualist, you'll find it in the glowing heart of the people you're connected with. It is literally everywhere. And these aren't limited to ceremonies or romance or spiritual practices. It is literally everywhere. They follow us into the kitchen, on the ride home from work, the text message that you're sending, that breath that you take because you're annoyed and you're like, right? They're everywhere. So, and they live and they hang out with us when no one's watching us, right?
Yeah.
So, and connection is that subtle recognition that we are part of something larger. This web of light, this web of connection, it stretches far beyond what we could imagine. And it literally unites every single tiny thing in the universe. So, and every act of kindness, every moment of compassion, every time you pause to choose to breathe and respond instead of reacting, you're sending these ripples out into the world. And don't ever discount how much power you have in the world to help and heal, because those ripples, no matter how big or small, might hit somebody when they need it the most. So be impeccable with your love. Be impeccable with your word, your thoughts, your reactions. Let these things be your compass. Let connection be the practice, the daily practice that you try to do every day. And you will slip and you will fall, but get back up, because, that's just part of life. We got to skin our knees, right?
Yeah.
So, but really at the center of this, love is the mission for all of us, no matter what we believe, no matter what we practice. So, and coming back to that axiom that anchored us, love will always subdue hate. This is the final truth, right? Love not only transforms the heart, but it restores the world, one single person at a time. So, and my call of action today for everybody is I want to invite everyone to perform one act of conscious love this week. It could be kindness, it could be self-compassion, self-love, very important, or just genuinely sitting with someone, being present, no matter what they're going through, whether they're happy, sad, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just be present for them and bring that presence and awareness and notice. But you have to notice how that energy sits with you and where it sits with you in the body. So that would be my final words today. So thank you guys so much. We always love having you on.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you
guys are
guys for
great.
having us. We always love being on here.
Yeah.
This is you guys were.
Oh, you'll be back too.
Oh, we can't wait.
Yeah, you guys were the perfect pairing for this episode today. It adds a little perspective. You see some gruff, big giant stoic guy, and happy-go-lucky over here talking about love. It doesn't hit as well sometimes, but so anyways,
Well, we
thanks
always
guys.
love and appreciate the opportunity to come on here and be with you guys. It's just always such a great conversation.
It truly
Well,
is.
we appreciate
And we
that.
love the show. Big fans.
We appreciate
Always.
that. You guys hear that? Now you have to listen twice, each and every one of you out there. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. Anytime. With love and gratitude, ad lucem.
Ad lucem.
Ad lucem.